Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Get to Know Us. We're having Rafael de Toledo Pedroso back on again today. We just released their album Bird Heart via our Bandcamp today. And shout out to Astral Noise for premiering it for us. And we are going to be having a listening party tonight for the album on our Discord at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And if you'd like to join us and have an opportunity to ask Hoffa questions, they'll be there and we'll be listening to the album and they'll be talking about it. You can join our Discord. It is in the link tree in our bio. And we just recommend that you do join Discord before 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time tonight, because you do have to kind of read over the rules and do a short, just introduce yourself in the server before you'll be allowed by a moderator into the rest of the server where the listening party is going to actually happen in our tape cassette deck channel. All right, so I am going to bring on... Yes, I think.
Hey there.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, it's all good here.
Oh, good.
What about you?
Good, good. There's been all these weather changes and my allergies are kind of acting up, so I'm really hoping. I was sneezing a lot before I jumped on, so I'm hoping that I get through this without sneezing and having to like go off camera to blow my nose. But other than that, I'm doing great. What,
Good to hear.
what about you?
I'm doing great as well. Yeah, just excited about the album release, really.
Yeah, yeah, you got Slug Magazine gave you a shout out today. They tweeted that they were recommending your album. I didn't
Oh,
see, yeah,
that's
I didn't
something.
see anything on their website, but they did shout out the album, and I know Audrey, who I had sent the album to, had really liked it, so that's cool. And then of course Astral Noise premiered it today, so I thought that was really nice.
Yeah, they wrote a lovely paragraph about it, which I was happy. It seemed like it really got the album, which nothing better than that.
Yeah, yeah. So and as we talked about earlier, we're going to kind of do things a little bit different for today's interview, just because you've been on a few times with your other projects when we were celebrating the anniversary releases. So I thought we would just get into talking about the album, like the theme of the album. Yeah, I guess we
Yeah.
could start there.
Yeah. It's pretty much a concept album around my mother's death, really. She passed away in 2020 in October, and I started writing about my mourning process, about dealing with it, but also I was trying to get all the good memories and I don't know, just try to understand them a little better. I think that's all you can do in times like this. It was meditation for me. It was something that really helped me making this album, but at times it was also really tough. So yeah, it deals pretty much. It's in her memory. It's about her, but it's a lot more about my process after her death, really.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm very sorry for your loss, and I know how difficult it is to lose a parent. And I know in your circumstance, it was also just been a very difficult many years too. You were
Yeah.
her sole caregiver, I know. So
Yeah, she struggled. I mean, the name of the album, right? It's, Coração de Pássaro, translates to bird heart. And my mother was she dealt with a neurological disease that really affected her legs and her movement, especially like her last years. She couldn't even get out of bed, and she was a very active person until that, and that's where it comes from, kind of having a bird heart. That's what I always thought of her. She was someone that wanted to be free, but was always stuck there. So yeah, that when a lot of inspirations around melancholic themes.
Yeah, yeah, and I know that some of the pictures that you included in the lyric booklet, if those of you who purchased the album and you download it, there is a lyric booklet, and there's many really nice pictures of Paula, Hafa's mom. What was that like for you? Were those things that you had already had and you included, or like what was that part of the album process for you too? With kind of talking about that, and even also
It's always
the cover
weird,
art.
right? It's always weird with like photographs. You always look at photographs and you know them very well, but when someone is not there anymore in a concrete manner, the photographs do take other meanings. You start to look at little details at them, sometimes a smile that you cannot find anywhere else, but that photograph, some little things that really stand still in time. Um, and I don't know, when I was looking at it, it just moved me. I wanted to include in a way. I thought it was my mother was during a time kind of wannabe model, so she had all these beautiful pictures taken, but they never got anywhere. They never left the house. I mean, it was something that she wanted to do but never got. So in a way, it's very nice to be able to show these pictures now and to give them life as well. And I do think they represent her better than in her final states as well, right? It's nice to remember her as she would like to be remembered. I think that's mostly it.
Yeah,
But yeah, and the album, the art cover was done by Ingrid Wagner, who is a wonderful animator, a wonderful illustrator, collage artist. She was one of the pioneers of animation here in my state of Brazil, which is Paraná. So to have her collaboration as well was something really meaningful, not only because of her history with that, but I thought she was someone that really got the feeling, the spirit right away when I spoke to her, and it was a connection, kind of really intergenerational in a way of, especially artistically, like, and it that was really rich. I think it really brought a lot to have her art, which is a beautiful art as well, to the cover,
yeah.
both the single and the final one.
Yes, the artwork is really lovely. And I know we did tag her in like some of the posts, if people want to follow, and we can add that again on this video. And also, I just kind of a thought with the photographs and how you included those with the lyric booklet. I can relate too, because when I lost my mom, who also had cancer, I know I went through this like mourning period afterwards where I was just going through like photos that I could find, and I kind of got a little bit obsessed with like putting them up like everywhere in my house for a period of time. And I did take some of them
Mm,
down since, because it was a little bit absurd. But it was like
yeah.
I felt like I needed to like surround myself and like look at these pictures, and I don't know if it
Yeah,
came
I
from
get it. I
for
get it. I do have one right there. Yeah, that one.
yeah.
So yeah, so I get it.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know if it's like you worry you're gonna forget, or forget this, how they look, or how they sound, and that kind of thing. It's
Yeah,
yeah.
memory is a strange thing. And I don't know. I know it's easy to forget people, you know. I mean, it's easy to allow. It's not easy to allow yourself to forget, but memory is tricky, and
Yeah,
sometimes you forget things you do not want, and that happens easierly than you think,
yeah,
and that's scary as well.
yeah, yeah, because life just keeps moving on regardless of the people
Mhm.
that we love that pass on. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so I know you had several collaborators on the album, and I'd be curious to hear about like how you chose who to collaborate with, like how that what that process was like, why you chose the people you did, and kind of like what your collaboration process was for those because there were different people on different tracks. So yeah, anything that you wanted to talk about
Yeah.
like that. Sorry, excuse me. I keep like having the like my allergies today.
No, no worries.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did have a lot of help in this album, and it was something that I wanted from the beginning. When I finished the lyrics on it, I went through and I thought these are really good. I mean, I like them a lot, so I want to bring the best out of them. And I was at a moment of time that musically I was feeling very limited on what I was being able to do. I felt like if I did something, it would sound like something I did before. It was everything was sounding already like something I had done,
Hmm.
and I really wanted to be able to cut through that and do a new sound. So I figured out a process in which first I wrote the lyrics and then I recorded this very, very loose kind of melodic, um, just bones to the track. Just usually me singing the lyrics with some very loose melody, and I was sending these to different people and just being like, you can go on from there. And my idea was to get different musicians that I thought would understand that really well. And two of them, which I collaborate already, right? Carol on AC Repair and Pedro in Pedroso y Pedrosa, both with releases on Grimalkin Records. And I also call Amanda Giacometti, that has a wonderful noise band called Powerpuff Girls Sound. And I know she would get that. She also had not a very different relation with her mother, only on a different stage, but I know she could really relate to what I had gone through. And both Pedro and Carol were really close to me as well during that time, so I know they got it. And yeah, they were the main ones. I had a friend of mine do some drums, but it was all on the same idea. First, I was recording just a very loose, almost freestyle, just me going on the lyrics, reciting, singing a bit, some ideas of melody. I would send that, and they would return me with like a line on guitar, a line on piano, and we would start working on from there. It was a really interesting project, and it gave really, really cool results.
Yeah, and was it sort of like you went back and forth with different files, or in any cases did you, was it all like
Not that
through
much,
files
not
or
that
you heard,
much.
I'm sorry.
Uh, once people got me their already answer, their musical answer to that first instinct, then I got all those together and I started formulating a more cohesive sound to the album. I really wanted it to have that Brazilian funk rhythm on it. So, and it, from there, it did not have a back and forth, but that original, like that original stimulus for them, like the original intent was really free, and that's what was interesting. Everyone was really free to take this to any sorts of direction, and in a way, it all felt cohesive.
Yeah, yeah. So are you, so like they sent back their track, and then you took that from there to develop it further,
Yeah,
and then that's
really.
kind of
Yeah.
how it went. I see. And
Yeah.
did was this all like done virtually, or in any cases did you meet, or you know, I know people are
Yeah,
spread
it
out.
it was all done virtually. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, yeah, yeah, and also kind of was curious about the recording and the production process too. And if I know you mentioned Brazilian funk, and also
Yeah.
just you know, how your setup there. If there was anything like that that you wanted to share with us as well as maybe some
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
influences of the album.
Yeah, the album has a really specific sound. I really love Brazilian funk, but which for people who don't know, you should really search it up. But it differs a lot from funk, as in like James Brown funk. I don't know, the classic international genre of music, and it's more of a electronic. It's more of a cousin of electronic music and hip hop that is really unique to Brazil. And what's the signature from Brazilian funk music? It's a rhythm pattern and the way that applies to the music. And I really wanted that rhythm, those drums, which you don't usually see being put with those more dirge songs, with more melancholic tracks. Funk here is usually very playful. It's usually either more based on sexual lyrics, or more really party, or more like really celebration of life, but not in the way that I wanted to take that celebration of life. But that feeling, that really that life, that funk, that Brazilian funk has here, when you listen to a funk beat, it emanates such a spirit, such life, that I wanted to bring that on an album that was essentially about death. So I wanted to, I don't know, create a point from that contrast. And
Hmm.
then I worked with a few instruments that are usually more found in even like music for children, or things that take you more on a maybe lullaby feeling. I do got here an organ that's from the 80s. It's an electric organ.
Oh, how
And
nice.
I use it that, and I use it a lot of this xylophone as well. Let me take it here. It's easier to show.
Yeah, very nice.
Which it all takes to a more even childish sound. And I thought that was interesting when also making an album about my mother. I wanted to maybe bring it up those more childish tones, and not run away from it. I mean, death isn't mature, right? It's more of a, you got a more heartfelt answer to it, and I wanted to touch on those feelings a little more. And I also wanted to make an album with songs, really, like not electronic music, not noise, not hip hop beats, not, it's experimental, but I wanted to have some sort of structure, some sort of I don't know, flow, like really more song based structure. And I think that happens more than in other albums of mine.
Yeah, and I'm curious, just when you were talking about it, other influences that you may have had with the album, and also like was your mother a lover of music, and like did anything like that and what she may have listened to at all influence or
Yeah, she was. It's funny you mentioned that, because she was not a fan of Brazilian funk, which is something that I took And it was, I mean, I reflected a lot upon. She would have loved the album, but she would have told me like, drop those beats. They are
That's funny.
because it's just a style that it's not something that was really familiar to her, and it was not that relatable to her. But in a way, yeah, she loved music. She put me on to great artists really early on, and she spent a few years studying in the UK in, I believe, in the late 70s. So she had a lot of great knowledge from like more obscure artists internationally that I would have not known if it wasn't for her. So for sure, and I say that she have told me to drop the beats, but I know she would have liked it as well.
Yeah, okay,
It's really she anything that had more of a song-based structure. She was really, she always liked it. She was really open to any kind of music at the end as well.
yeah. And did you have you shared your various projects with her, and what did she think and of them, and what
Oh,
does
yeah,
she have
one
a
of the
favorite?
last yeah, I believe the last project of mine she heard full was Procuram Quati, the Pedroso and Pedrosa album, and she really really loved that one. It was something that she would always put on, and it would, I don't know, make her feel better. And it was released, I believe, around the time she passed away. It was in October 2020. So I was, as I was mixing, when I was taking care of her, I used to mix everything by her side without phones. So she sometimes would listen to a lot of music and be giving me feedback and whatever. So yeah, she always heard anything I wanted to show her, really.
Yeah, that's lovely. Yeah, it's nice. That's really nice to be able to have shared some of what you've done with her. Yeah, and I didn't know if there were any other influences surrounding the album that you did want to mention. Is there anything else in that regard that you'd like to
Yeah,
talk about?
then yeah, I know, like as I said, with the style of collaboration that I did, I believe like there are influences beyond me, because I know like Pedro got a lot of MPB influences to do his part. I know there's a lot of things that came together, but for me, I try to really stick to this essence and to the moment and to what I was feeling and try to put that on. If I started to focus too much on more, I don't know, on more artistic and ideas, I was afraid I could lose that raw feeling of
Mm.
emotion I wanted to pull.
Yeah, well, it's a really lovely album, and I found that it like it's like a grower too. Like as far as like the more you listen to it, the more you gain from it as a listener. So, and that's not always something you can say about every album. So that's really also lovely, at least from my point of view. um, yeah, and yeah. So I guess let's talk a little bit about where the tape proceeds are going. Um, how you chose. I I forget how to pronounce. That's why I announced your album as Bird Heart. I didn't want to try and butcher the Portuguese. So
Yeah, I can take it. I can take it from there. The tape proceeds are going to an organization that really helped me here, which is called Rede Feminina do Combate ao Câncer, which it translates kind of literally to female women's network of cancer treatment. I think that's the best translation, and it's pretty much that what the name says. It's a network, mostly woman-based, that helps people around my city, Ponta Grossa, which is a city in the south of Brazil. Helps not only women but anybody more marginalized that has cancer or other diseases that need like continuous treatment, and they do all sorts of stuff. But for me, they used to pay for medication for my mother's neurological disease, which it wasn't like she had cancer as well, but like they were paying for a lot of stuff that it wasn't. I mean, they did what they could. Anything they could do, they were doing. They really like bought medicine every month, and they gave me like cesta básica, which is like a supply kit of food items for the house. They helped it with everything I can think of that I needed. They even like got people to cut my hair, whatever, dentists. They had everything. So they are wonderful. I really happy that now I can give back to them in any way. It's a small city here, and to have an organization, it's a very old organization, and it's they work every day. They are very rightful, and it's really nice to be able to talk about them.
That's lovely. And for those of you who are listening, you can find a link to their website. It's actually their link to their website is on our website, grimalkinrecords.com, and it's also on the Bandcamp page for Rafa's album, some information about them and how to find out more information about them. And Rafa also wrote a very nice guest blog post for us that posted this past Monday that you can check out on our website, grimalkinrecords.com, about why they chose to donate their tape proceeds and how they have helped Rafa and their mom through like very difficult times. So really great to hear about a mutual aid organization like that that's in your area. I know you've mentioned before it is hard finding resources where you live, and it's quite rural, I believe, and is there
there's definitely much infrastructure in that sense of organizations and communities that can help out. So
yeah, that's really lovely. And so I guess I really appreciate that you came on and talked with us again about this particular album. For those of you who are listening, you can join us tonight on our Discord at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be listening to the album, and you'll have an opportunity to ask Rafa questions about the album or their music. And it should be a good time. If you aren't already a part of our Discord, you can find the link in the link tree in our bio. And I'm not sure if there's anything else you wanted to mention, but I really do appreciate.
I think we got it all covered.
Yeah, we did. I think we did. I really appreciate you taking the time today, and I'll see you a little bit later on then this evening. Okay. And thanks to everybody who tuned in, and we'll see you a little bit later.
Thanks so much.
Okay, you take care.